that is is really mining those truths about love in really unexpected ways that I haven't seen before. So,
Okay.
in case you were wondering, it's reading.
Oh, good. I'm glad. You do sort of hope that it does come through. I appreciate you saying that, Daniel. I appreciate your eye and that you said that. Um, yes, I thought that was important, is to sort of steer away from the Disney animated movie and make it more along the lines of the live action film.
Mm,
Because I know, as you know, in a creative conversation with other members of the team, you have to give them an idea of the prototype of the vision of the show so that they can hook into it in some way. And I found that that was the easiest way to say what I had in mind,
mm,
that go lean towards the live action film, not the Disney animated movie. Um, and that I was so well supported by Encore. I mean, Sharon has been phenomenal with giving me the support that I needed to sort of breathe these options out and to then support them. And she was my first person at the time who was my sounding board from Encore. So I really appreciated that fresh start. And then yeah, going back to Disney, so I just really wanted to make it more about the essence of the characters and the story. And yet, as you know, people come to see Beauty and the Beast because it's a Disney uh, iconic animated film. And so I wanted to bring elements of the humor and the cartoon animated quality into certain aspects of the show. And so I've really tried to enhance that with our silly girls and different moments with Gaston. And these are played by the most amazing actors. One of Encore's favorites, Craig Benson, has played Beast in at
mm.
least twice. He's a phenomenal tenor. And I think there was an expectation that he would be cast as the Beast initially, but Craig is this amazing comedian, and it was an opportunity for me to cast him as Gaston to play this over the top villain, which he's relishing. And so I think we're pulling out the humor in his thread throughout the musical.
Yeah, that he's doing a phenomenal job, and yeah, I think there probably was just this. Oh, Craig is gonna be the Beast. He always has been. He always will. Um, but what I found so interesting is the way you cast this show. It is really different and really unique, and I think it has brought some really special things, really special truths out of this story. Can you
Mm.
tell us a little bit more how you went about casting this?
Well, I went to a professional casting director named Beth Ryan, and I know her just through the industry. She's a phenomenal human being. And I asked her if she would come over and be a part of the casting panel because I knew she would bring in a very professional eye and she would give a fresh look
Mhm.
to the perspective of the casting panel. She didn't know anyone. She didn't know their past experiences or really what they could do. So she was fresh in the room, having these actors come in and sing beautifully, and she was really blown away by the talent that came in. So she was a part of our casting panel, and actually we were aligned perfectly because I wanted to bring new opportunities to the people that earned them. And I wanted to look beyond a certain type that might be expected from casting before, whether it's at Encore or through the professional industry. I wanted to look beyond that and just look for, again, the essence of the character. And and Beth and I didn't even talk about that initially, but we were both doing the same thing. So when we would talk as a team with Sharona and Sarita, our stage manager, it was just so obvious. We had we had a group of people that were easily qualified for the lead roles. And so then fortunately, it came back down to the callbacks where I could be more specific about the qualities of the character that I wanted to see. Because I had an idea of the archetype of each one of these characters. Like I knew like 5 different archetypes that the beast could be. And so I was looking for those, that potential in the people at the callbacks. And it's definitely paid off. We have phenomenal, again, just a great cast. They're so solid, and I'm sure we'll talk more about that, but this isn't a show to be missed. It's so good. I think it's good. I think they're doing a great job.
Oh, they are. They definitely are.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone should come get tickets. So after you auditioned everybody and cast the show, where does that take us? Like March 2020-ish?
March 1st, 2020. So our plan was to start rehearsals the next week and to be performing by June of 2020. Obviously, the news was confusing. We really didn't, I mean, forget my personal beliefs aside, in the theater, we didn't really know how to move forward. And I know that we kept looking to Broadway and the professional shows to get a hint of what we should be doing, because this isn't a small show. These performances are being held in 1,500 seat theaters. So we had to be mindful of, although it's not an equity show, it is produced as if it's an equity show. And so we had to just be very conscientious about moving forward for the cast and for the audience. So this was a new point in our world. And it was very confusing. So we just slowed down. I was told that we would need to wait, that we probably would not be going up in June, but there was a possibility. And it's always been like that. There's this possibility. So I suggested that we go right into rehearsals in the case that we're going up in June, because I understood we have about 4 months to really lock the show in. And I didn't want the cast to be thrown a month before with the idea of, okay, now you have to put the show up. 40 people who are not used to that professional expectation, to be thrown into that is a lot of pressure. So I suggested we go into Zoom rehearsals. And at the time, this was crazy. Nobody was doing this. And so around the world, nobody was doing this. And it just kind of made sense because our community is so open, you know, we're friends. So we would pop on twice a week and start working just the mechanics of the show. I think what happened for me specifically is coming from a TV background that I'm used to storyboarding things. So I was able to take that experience and show it to the actors in a way of, okay, this is how this scene will look. It's still very confusing, but in my mind, it helped me a lot to go, okay, this is where they'll go. You'll move here and here. But the cast humored me completely. And they still have those notes. They were amazing. And so we basically started rehearsing thinking we would possibly go up in June, which then turned into maybe October of 2020. And we then started pulling in other opportunities to do workshops. Like we started looking at archetype work and Meisner techniques. And so the cast just went into literally the technique of acting and went to the basics to enhance their performances. And so we spent the time in a very productive way, even though it was on Zoom and tiring, we still felt connected to each other. But the music was impossible, as you know. Nobody could sing on Zoom.
Because of the delay and everything, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Daniel just directed Les Miserables for Encore, and so he was going through a similar experience. And we were just fortunate that we could go to literally the dialogue, you know, the spoken lines. Yeah. Yeah,
with Les Mis, we couldn't get anything done because the whole thing is sung through. So Zoom, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But you know, I'm glad that we stayed connected. We spent 4 months of Zoom rehearsals, and it was tiring for everyone. But again, remember, we were in lockdown. People were in their pajamas on on Zoom and rehearsals, and it was a way for us to stay connected as a community. And we looked forward to it every week. Um, that sense of isolation and separation that came from the original months of this pandemic was really evident in the story that came out. Um, because in Beauty and the Beast, the people who live in the castle are isolated. They don't feel human. They feel foreign. And so we were able to explore those themes in a very real way, in real time. That was phenomenal. And then that same summer, which we just had, George Floyd was murdered. And so in our country, we went through the heaviness of that situation, and it did come into the conversations came into the performances in our rehearsals. It was very deep, very moving, and then you look at the story of Beauty and the Beast, and there are elements of it with the mob, and how people can be treated differently. Anyway, we just had some beautiful, very deep conversations in our rehearsals. And then we just kept forging ahead, and then we realized we were not going to be performing in October 2020. And then there's a possibility that we might perform in January 2021. But by then, COVID was, the extent and the loss of COVID was really affecting the country and the world. And so that reality check came up pretty quickly. But again, every week was just checking in and getting new standards. So we decided to take a hiatus at that point. And I'm certainly glad I did, because I just personally needed to sort of check into what was going on in the world and see how that, you know what I mean?
yeah.
How that affected me personally. And then we were back into 2021 and finally had the go ahead to start rehearsing live all together.
What was that first day back like?
Oh, it was so many emotions, Daniel. One, it was just a sense of gratitude of being able to walk into the theater again, to take in the walls and the history and the beauty of the architecture. We've been rehearsing at the Warner Grand Theater, which is an Art Deco theater that was built in 1931. So you walk in there and immediately just the respect of this, I call it like a sanctuary, is so evident, right? So we were all very grateful. And I just asked the cast that, please just leave everything you can out the door, come in, and let's just focus on being together as a community and work on the story. And that's how we started. And it was amazing. There was a quality that was unusual starting a show like this, because we'd been on Zoom for so long, and similar to how we are right now, they were working together through a screen, right? They're talking through literally this little dot. And so to walk into a theater and see each other for the first time after spending months and months rehearsing was a little unusual. So I thought that might be the case. So I had hoped to pull together choreography on the first day so that everybody could really just get into their bodies and have a lot of fun. And it worked out perfectly with our phenomenal choreographer's work schedule, Caitlin Martin. I do have to talk about Caitlin, can I?
Of course.
Yeah, she put together, well, we were all on Zoom, she put together videos of the choreography for the entire show so that the cast could learn all the dance numbers, and it also gave them an opportunity to, on a weekly basis, get up and move around, and to work on Gaston's cup dance. And so, but she's been such a trooper with being flexible through these different mediums. from Zoom rehearsals to live rehearsals.
And then you have a phenomenal vocal director as well, Anthony and Sarita, your stage manager. They've been doing a lot of great work for your show.
Yes. Anthony Lopez, he and I were introduced at the auditions in March 2020. And he's such a phenomenal keyboard player. I mean, he's classically trained. So we had a ball at the auditions because literally he played everything by sight, you know. And when people weren't in the room, he would just start playing jazz, you know. So we had a great time. Little did I know that a year later, that he would become our musical director. And talk about a blessing. This guy is really amazing. He's the perfect blend of being animated, so he pulls your cast out, and extremely specific about his notes. So his caliber of artistry is high, so he pushes everybody just enough. And then he was playing at all of our rehearsals, so we could literally hear the score and the underscore while we were rehearsing over the last 4 months. And on top of that, he plays jazz while I'm blocking with the actors or I'm giving redirection. So there's this beautiful music just that comes through the theater while, you know, we're just doing our thing. So he's been such an incredible asset to this production. And Sarita has been with us, obviously from the very beginning. Sarita's our stage manager, and she was with us through every single Zoom rehearsal. I mean, it's like hours and hours and hours. And she is literally they call her Mama Bear, but she is the heart and soul of keeping everybody moving, keeping everyone together, keeping everybody grounded. And so I'm really looking forward to her opportunity to have her moment where she gets to stage manage this enormous production in 2 theaters.
Yeah.
So happy.
So we've come back into live rehearsals, but we're not out of the woods yet, I guess, so to speak.
True.
Because, you know, COVID is always rearing its ugly head with things. What was that experience like now being back in person to rehearse from the time we got back to, I guess, now?
Well, we've been very careful about keeping with the city protocols, and so everyone's been masked. And you know, I say we, on behalf of Encore, we take it very seriously to protect each of the cast members. And so we've been extremely careful. At this point, you know, it's going up and performing, watching the performance in a couple of weeks. We're still in this place where it's hard to say, but I don't know that people understand that asking for an audience to wear a mask in the theater is more than just a respect for the person sitting next to you, but it protects the orchestra players who are performing for you. It protects everybody everyone in the whole community. So when you walk in, you know, you're electing to be a part of this community and to look out for your neighbor. And I think that that's very important. Daniel, I just saw Hamilton not long ago, like a couple weeks ago. And again, Encore is following the same industry standards as the national tours. So when I went to see Hamilton, you know, I was asked to either show my vaccination card or to show a negative COVID test. Well, I am vaccinated, so I showed my card. And yes, I was expected to wear a mask. It was just simple, but I chose to go into the theater and I chose to experience this with everyone. And unfortunately, the people next to me didn't have that same expectation. They did not want to wear their mask during the performance. Eventually, they were asked to leave, you know, and it was unfortunate because it didn't have to be that way,
Mhm.
you know. And I really hope that moving forward that people will just respect that it's a moment of time that you get to share with each other, no matter what your beliefs are, you're choosing to be there. And I just really hope that people will just respect that space. And that's all it is. It's like 2 or 3 hours of your time, of your life, but you get to share something that is so beautiful. And it's the art. It's what's important about theater, is that we kind of cross beyond our our view of the world and we come together. And I'm hoping that that happens with these performances. I'm I'm a little concerned, I don't know how you are, about theater in the long run, because I feel that the more that people feel, well, I can't go to the theater if they're going to ask me to wear a mask, that then they're going to miss stories that maybe they need to hear. And the same for me, you know, if you know what I mean? Like I'm just worried that we're going to become more separate in theater as we might be with the news that we listen to. And I don't know. I have this weird feeling about it. But I guess because of my own experience of watching Hamilton and then knowing that we are literally going up right now alongside very few theaters that are opening. So I just keep asking people to be respectful of the fact that you are sharing an experience together, and try to be compassionate that you don't know someone's situation at home, you know, just to be kind. That's all. So that's my experience with COVID right now.
Because it's coming to the theater is so much bigger than yourself. Um, in terms of just this Beauty and the Beast, the cast has worked so hard and formed such a tight bond, and they're so excited to share that with everyone. And that really is an act of selflessness, in my opinion. So I completely agree with you. I would hope that our audience members will realize that and just come for the enjoyment and the experience, and
Yes.
get some great stuff out of watching this very vibrant production of Beauty and the Beast.
It is a lot of fun. There's so many great moments that are just that bring me so much joy watching the cast. Um, Watching the cast perform. It's interesting too, and some of the things that have been unusual about this one. I was lucky to have my son Miles help me during the Zoom rehearsals, so he always brings like a lot of enthusiasm when I'm still talking to him about rehearsals. And then we have Selena, who is our stunt director, who came in and she choreographed the castle battle. So they're like different people that have infused a bit of their personality into the show that you know people may not see directly on the stage, but it comes through. You know, it just comes through with physical comedy.
Oh, there's lots of great moments.
I hope so.
Um,
There are, watching them do it. It's awesome.
so the show opens next week, next Friday.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
I feel really good. I'm really tired, of course, right? But I'm just grateful. I'm so thankful to be here. I'm thankful that Encore gave me this opportunity. I'm grateful that Encore, the staff and the board of directors, have really supported me through some of the more difficult challenges with COVID, and just being for my need to be flexible. They've helped me through all of this. I'm grateful for the cast. I know we've lost some cast members that just weren't able to stay in the show. I'm grateful for them because I'll never forget the performances they brought to each rehearsal. Still remember that. And I'm grateful for the cast that are still left standing, who are bringing it, fully engaged and excited and enthusiastic, and bringing the technique that they've been practicing for years into just the caliber of performances that they're offering. I'm excited about a live orchestra. We have a 20-piece orchestra. So cool.
Yeah, under Matt Visk, our conductor.
Matt Visk. So Matt has been conducting with Encore for many years. Do you know how many years, actually?
I don't know off the top of my head, but he's been here longer than I have, so probably around 8 or 9 years, I would imagine.
So Matt Bisk is phenomenal. He's the conductor, and he is so animated. I've been on stage before with Encore with Matt conducting, and it's so much fun. He literally, you know, he's just right there with you, and it creates such an energy and sense of excitement as soon as he starts up, and then just kind of focuses in on each person. So I know as a performer how fantastic. There's a funny Matt story that I have. He's so good. We were performing Mary Poppins, and Encore also likes to offer free performances as field trip shows for schools. So there's this one performance where we packed the theater with 1,500 students that were all bussed in, and someone had said, "Oh, you need to clap along to this number," you know. And so Matt was conducting, and the audience of kids were having so much fun, they kept going faster and faster and faster and faster. And we were trying to keep up with our choreography, and literally, like, it was just Matt just trying to, like, you know, keep going and like trying to slow everybody down at the same time, like whoa, 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 you know. But he is his skill level is phenomenal, and I know he's on his way to London, and he paused his schedule just so he could stay here and conduct Beauty and the Beast for Encore. So I feel extremely honored that his presence will be in the room. And we have a beautiful harp as part of the 20-piece orchestra that to me just like lights up the that ethereal quality in the story. But anyway, as I was saying to the orchestra, that, you know, each piece that comes through just evokes an emotion that's in the architecture of the story and how it was first created. And that is so clear when they start playing. So the audience gets to experience that. Awesome.
And if they come to the Warner Grand performances, I think the audience is in for a real treat as well, because we're putting the orchestra up in the balcony. So it's really like you're being enveloped in this sound of music, so to speak. So
that's exactly right. It is like that. I know with Les Miserables that they were in the balcony as well. And I remember being in the audience and hearing that sound, you know, come out, and it just really grabs you. And I remember seeing this shadow of this person that was conducting up on the balcony, but the shadow cast him. He must have been 40 feet tall over on the side of the wall of the Warner Grand. And it looked like the literally the Phantom of the Opera that was just orchestrating music throughout the whole show. It was so cool.
Yeah. We had him put Mickey Mouse ears on at one point.
Are you serious?
So that it looks like, so it looks like Mickey conducting.
Oh my God. I had no idea. I missed that one. That's perfect.
Yeah. So anyway, that'll be a real treat to be surrounded by the sound.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I hope people can come. I think I have a low battery, Daniel. Let me just plug you in. Hi everybody. Sorry. I don't know why I did like that. There you go. Yay. Cool.
In the comments, I am seeing some questions about COVID procedures to come see the show. If you do come to the show, you do either have to show proof of vaccination or a negative PCR test that was taken at least 72 hours in advance of the performance. And yes, everybody has to wear a mask regardless of age.
Yeah. And it is the industry standard, you guys. So
yeah, there's nothing to be done about that. Just it's the kind thing to do.
It is the kind thing to do. Absolutely.
Everyone's going to have a great time in the field. So Did you want to take any questions from your viewers, if they have any?
Yes. Yes.
Or if they don't have any.
I guess, Daniel, it might be possible just throughout Tech Week to take just a couple little snippets of video
Mm-hmm.
for those that are asking to see maybe a little bit more who won't be able to come to the show. Obviously, we can't record the whole show, but there might be moments that Daniel could share.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And Abby Carlson, who is playing Babette in the show, she'll be doing an Instagram takeover one of the Tech Week days, documenting her entire day, evening at the theater, what it's like backstage.
Oh, cool.
Give you all an inside view of what goes on behind the curtain.
And so that will be through Encore?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Perfect.
Yeah.
I just saw Elias swing by. So Elias plays Monsieur Dark in Beauty and the Beast. He has a gorgeous voice. And he was asking what shows might be going on in the future. Daniel, that might be more your question there.
We are going to be, right after Beauty and the Beast ends, we're going to be auditioning for Disney's Descendants. So we'll have another Disney property, and that one is going to be a lot of fun for everyone, especially those of you that are familiar with the Descendants franchise on the Disney Channel and the uncertainty. But we'll have that solidified in the next couple months, and you can watch the Encore South Bay Instagram for updates, and we will be sure to let everybody know what shows are auditioning and when tickets go on sale so that you can join us for future performances.
And someone asked how they could get tickets right now, and you would go to encoresouthbay.org
Mm-hmm.
to get tickets for Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, or you can go to Gold Star. They are in fact cheaper on Gold Star, and so if money's a little tight right now, which I imagine it might be for a lot of people, you can get a phenomenal deal on those tickets. They're a little less than half off on Gold Star, so that's definitely a place to check out.
Someone asked what my next project will be after Beauty, and I'm also producing a podcast for Eddie Wilson, so I'll be finishing that right now. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to directing again for Encore. I just has to be the right time and the right project for everybody, right? For them as well.
Yeah. But we would love to have you back when you're
Thank you.
ready.
Yes, I'll be there.
I know main stage shows, it is a beast to put up. So a rest afterwards, that is completely understandable.
Yeah, it's been great though. I mean, honestly, as the pandemic has been the challenging part, and the cast, boy, they persevered through this. I applaud them. And we did have cast changes, so what that meant for the cast that are currently in the show is that they had to work harder because we had new people step in and who phenomenally have learned the show in a month. But everybody else has just been working at overtime to make sure that the new cast members are up to speed. So I appreciate that. And I'm so excited for them to have their moment to fly and show everybody what they are been working on all these years. Feels like years and years and years.
Almost. It's been like...
So I highly recommend people should come and see it and see a fresh take on the show.
Definitely. So I just have to commend you, Reneé, on the phenomenal work that you're doing. Everybody here at Encore is deeply appreciative about the kindness and the care and the compassion that you have approached this entire process with. I've spoken with a good number of the cast members, and they speak so highly of you, and the
Thank you.
the care that you've held them with means a lot to them. And I really think this Beauty and the Beast is going to be something to remember. It's going to be a very special show, and we all just cannot wait to welcome folks into the theater on Friday next week to finally see this show.
Yeah, and I'm hoping new people come out to the theater, you know? I mean, just new generations of girls that to come and see Belle and see her alive and see her spunky and a little rebellious and clear, you know, intellectual. That's the Belle that both of our beautiful actresses are portraying. And, you know, I'm hoping that inspires other young girls to know that they can be all that they are all the time. And yeah, I'm excited about that.
Great.
And our beasts too. They're a little
Yeah.
I say that because we're not going with the traditional look of the show. It's a different look for the beast, but I think it's gorgeous to bring out the humanity and the duality of the beast in the look, and our men are doing it in their performances and their voices. So I'm really curious to see how that affects people in the audience, you know, to see if they understand sort of the themes of, the duality of man. And
yeah, I mean, it's going to spark a lot of conversations, which theater should, and I hope people will discuss this over dessert afterwards or on the because there's a lot to talk about and a lot of good stuff to celebrate.
Awesome. Cool, Daniel. Thank you for doing this with us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll just encourage people to come see us. Come see us at the theater. Come support the arts.
Yep, it's playing next Friday, October 1st through October 10th. The first weekend is at the Redondo Beach Performing Arts Center. The second weekend is at the Warner Grand Theater. You can get tickets at encoresouthbay.org or Gold Star for a little bit less expensive. And we will welcome you with not open arms, because we should socially distance, but we will welcome you to the theater when you arrive.
Yep. People are telling me to go get some sleep too, Daniel. Eventually. It's too exciting right now. All right. I'll see you soon, Daniel. And everyone else will catch you the next time.
All right. Thanks, Reneé.
Bye, Daniel. See you soon. Bye, everybody. Thank you for stopping in.